My name is Elena Sofia Lozada, and I am a student in the course Materials Design for Face-to-Face Environments. So, today I'm going to talk about the step 1 to look into for designing invitation material. The main topic in this presentation is Principles of Second Language Acquisition relevant to the development of materials for the teaching of languages. Let's start. The first question related to the reading is: what should English languages learning ELT materials have? This question is interesting because teachers have realized that it's important to develop instructional materials and recognizing the importance of teaching resources and strategies used to maximize students' language learning. We know that students learn at particular speeds and succeed in different manners. Teachers should consider this diversity when teaching the target language and when develop their materials, trying at the same time to keep a balance among students' languages learning needs, preference, motivation, and expectations. In this case, the materials would be stretched so that they awaken the curiosity and the interest, provided they pay attention to the class, thus generating a positive impact. In order for the materials to generate an impact on the students, the first one is novelty. This means that you can have unusual topics, illustrations, and interesting activities to develop with your students. The second, to have a variety of materials to break the monotony and routine of a class with an unexpected activity, for example, with a video, a sound, a striking test type, a CD, and take advantage of everything that technology offers us. The third, to have an attractive presentation with many colors, to use photographs or images to have wide space that allow develop the student's imagination. The fourth, to have an attractive content. To develop a particular topic can begin to take into account the learner's interests. Use topics that offer the possibility of learning something new, current news, and taking into account local situations. The fifth and last characteristic is to have an achievable challenge. That is, create activities that challenge the learners to think and learn for themselves, thus developing confidence in their own knowledge. Continuing with the development of the activity, the next question is: what are the proposals for principles approaches to development of ELT materials? The design of materials can be approached from a wide range of theories and approaches. In this case, the author Tomlinson mentions a large number of principles that are useful when designing ELS materials. The first proposal is: materials should help learners to feel at ease. Learners feel more comfortable with writing materials with lots of white space, without lots of different activities are crammed together on the same page. Are more at ease with text and illustrations that they can relate to their own culture with topics that are developed in their town or department, for example. Materials that help them learn, not materials that make them feel pressure. The voice of the materials must be personalized and provide support and relaxation. In addition, it should have characteristics of orality such as informal discourse features, the active range than passive voice, concreteness, inclusiveness. These characteristics will make the materials appropriate to the student's needs, taking into account the importance of not making them feel pressure. Second, materials should help learning to develop confidence. Create activities which try to push learning. This means that the students will go slightly beyond existing competency to develop the activity. 3. What is being taught should be perceived by learners as relevant and useful. Perception of relevance and utility can also be achieved by relating teaching points to interesting and challenging classroom tasks. In order for students to learn better, it is good to describe what is their main interest. This will help the materials adapt to the students and they will understand the usefulness of each lesson. Materials should require and facilitate learning self-investment. The role of the material is to aid the learning to make efficient use of the resources in order to facilitate self-discovery. 5. Learners must be ready to acquire the points being taught. We cannot expect to select a particular point for teaching and assume that all the learners are ready and willing to learn it. Materials will get learners to focus attention on features of the target language with which they have not yet acquired, so that they might be more attentive to these features in future input. Number 6. Materials should expose the learners to languages in authentic use. Learners need experience of how the language is typically used. 7. Materials should provide the learners with opportunities to use the target language to achieve communicative purposes. They need to use language for communication rather than just to practice it in situations controlled by the teacher and the materials. Interactions can be achieved through, for example, information or opinion gap activities, and for example, finding out what food would like at a meeting or a party, past listening and past reading activities. For example, what television programs to watch. Creative writing and creative speaking activities. For example, writing a story or improvising a drama. And the last one is formal instruction given in the target language. Number 8. Materials should take into account that the positive effects of instruction are usually delayed. Materials have to recycle instruction and to provide frequent and ample exposure to the instructed languages featured in communicative use. 9. Materials should take into account that learners differ in learning style. This is very important because activities should be variable and should ideally cater for all learning styles. In this case, we have 9 learning styles that include visual, where learners prefer to see the language written down. Auditory, learners prefer to hear the language. Kinesthetic, where learners prefer to do something physical, such as following instruction for a game. Studial, learners like to pay attention to the linguistic feature of the language and want to be correct. Experiential, learners like to use the language and are more concerned with communication than with correctness. Analytic, learners prefer to focus on the square bits of the language and to learn one by one. Global, learners are happy to respond the whole chunks of languages at a time. Dependent, where learners prefer to learn from a teacher and from a book. And the last one is independent. Learners are happy to learn from their own experience of the language and to use autonomous learning strategies. Number 10. Materials should take into account that learners differ in affective attitudes. Language learning should have a strong and consistent motivation, and they should also have positive feelings towards the target language. In this case, you have to create a variety of language instructions based on the variety of learning styles. Some ways of doing this are: number 1, providing choices of different types of tests. Second, providing choices of different types of activities. Third, providing optional extracts for the more positive and motivated learning. Four, providing variety. 5. Including units in which the value of learning English is a topic for discussion. 6. Including activities which involve the learners in discussion, their activities and feelings about the course and the materials. 7. Researching and gathering for the diverse interests of the identified target learners. Number 8. Being aware of the cultural sensitivities of the target learners. And the last one is giving general and specific advice in the teacher's book on how to respond to negative learning. The next one is materials should permit a silent period at the beginning of the instruction. The materials should not force premature speaking in the target language, and they should not force silence either. So, using a silent period is important so that students can communicate in the target language until they have acquired enough confidence to understand it. This is called internalized grammar. Some ways of giving learners the possibility of not speaking until they are ready include starting the course with a total physical response approach, starting with a listening comprehension approach, permitting the learners to respond to target language questions by using their first language or through drawings and gestures. The next one is materials should maximize learning potential by encouraging intellectual, aesthetic, and emotional involvement, which stimulates both right and left brain activities. And it's very important that the content of the materials is not trivial or banal, and that it stimulates thoughts and feelings in the learning. And this is so important in the process. 13. Materials should not rely too much on controlled practice. The use of controlled practice is not yet verified, and many researchers claim that it is a waste of time. In this case, materials must be updated so that it do not emphasize controlled practice but the use of languages through activities planned with a communicative approach. And the last one proposal is materials should provide opportunities for outcome feedback. The feedback, which is focused first on the effectiveness of the outcome rather than just on the accuracy of the output. For a learning, it may be more beneficial to hear a good comment about their possible mistakes than to feel criticized. In conclusion, as a teachers, we have realized the need to use materials that provide real and authentic use of different languages, or texts that include a variety of types of text. In addition, materials for language learning should ideally be driven by principles of learning and teaching. The purposes that are in the presentation apply themselves to the idea that learning is about communication and using the language for a purpose. It is exposure to the language through doing that allows acquisition to take place. Materials should engage students, achieve an impact in the sense that they wake up and maintain the curiosity and attention of the students, encourage learners to apply their development skills to the world beyond the classroom, be perceived by learners as a relevant and useful, and the last one, provide opportunities to use the target language to achieve communicative purpose. So that's all, and thank you for watching my video. See you soon.